What is going on, guys? You got Tone here, and I am bringing you my ICBA Season 1 Week 4 battle. This week, we are taking on the commissioner of the league himself, JohnnyGB, and his Oregon Duckletts. Now, we are coming off of a brutalizing, tough 5-0 loss last week to the Rhode Island Road'ems, and we're looking to rebound here this week. Now, we are still on top of our division with a 2-1 record. Johnny is also a divisional opponent who we will be playing this week. He is currently 1-2 and sitting at the bottom of the division. So I know he's looking for a win, and I definitely want to rebound from my loss last week. So without further ado, I'm just going to quickly run down Johnny's team really quick. So his team consisting of Garchomp, Jirachi, Clefable, Entei, Jolteon, Chestnut, Spiritomb, Mega Blastoise, Kecleon, Aerodactyl, and Rotom Fan, with his 3 eligible Zmon users being Jirachi, Garchomp, and Aerodactyl. So this is probably what I like to call a top-heavy team, because his Garchomp, Jirachi, Clefable, Entei, all these mons at the top of his draft is just so threatening, so potent. And then he has that Mega Blastoise backing him up with the Rapid Spin support, and it's a very hard hitter by itself. And then he has those support mons near the bottom with Spiritomb, Kecleon, and the like. So I had a very difficult time prepping for everything and not trying to overdo the whole team building process or whatnot. I tried to keep it as simple as possible, simply because I couldn't think of any benchmarks I wanted to hit with the team that I brought. And it's pretty substandard in my estimation, and it's kind of bland, but it wasn't much I could think of in terms of what I could bring differently, just because he has so many threats I needed to account for, and I didn't want to miss out on a single one. So my team is just pretty basic in terms of investments and all that stuff. Also, my team is slightly different. If I didn't mention it last week, I'm just going to mention it again. After my Week 3 battle, I dropped Toxapex, I dropped Mega Glalie, we picked up Gastrodon, and we picked up Mega Venusaur, as you see on the screen there. So Mega Venusaur will be making its debut this week. So just to run down the team that I am bringing for this battle. First off, you see Mega Venusaur, Groot, with Synthesis, Sludge Bomb, Earthquake, and Hidden Power Ice for the Garchomp. The reason why I don't have Giga Drain on my Mega Venusaur is mainly because of the fact that Mega Blastoise is the only Pokemon on his team that's weak to grass, and he has a crap ton of grass resist that can easily come in on a predicted Giga Drain. And considering that Mega Blastoise doesn't have the most reliable recovery outside of rest, I figured it'd be pretty easily worn down by my attacks. So I just left off Giga Drain because it didn't make any sense just to bring it for just one Pokemon. So that is Mega Venusaur. Number 2, we have Baymax, Aurorunculus, Rockin' Trick Room, Psychic, Shadow Ball, and Calm Mind here. And the reason why I put Calm Mind here over something like Recover or a 4th or a 3rd coverage option is because, for one, I didn't need the added coverage from like Focus Blast or Thunder or anything like that. And I didn't really have a win con, so Ranunculus sort of filled both of those roles. If I get up a Trick Room and I get up a Calm Mind, I get to +1, I can dent things hard with Psychic and Shadow Ball. I doesn't really have any good switch-ins to both of those moves, other than the potential of bringing like an Assault Vest Spiritomb or Assault Vest Kecleon. So that is my Ranunculus set. Number 3, we have Wukong, the Infernape, Rockin' Choice Scarf, Flare Blitz, EQ, U-Turn, Thunder Punch for the Mega Blastoise, and the Aerodactyl if he did bring it. Jolly Nature, enough speed to outspeed a potential Scarf Garchomp. Nothing real fancy about that. I needed some speed on the team, so that way I don't get overwhelmed by his setup mons if he brought like a Swords Dance Garchomp or something along those lines, so I need to be careful about that. Number 4, we have Crimson the Crocodile, Stealth Rock, knockoff EQ Iron Tail for the Clef. Kind of wish I had Taunt or Toxic over Iron Tail here, because I had multiple ways of dealing with Clef already between Sludge Bomb Mega Venusaur, Heavy Slam, and Heavy Slam Celesteela, so I didn't really need to lure in Clefable, and EQ still has a good chunk of damage. So and I'm rocking Rocky Helmet just in case, since Jirachi, I'm figuring if he's like a physical Scarf variant, he can he has to U-turn. He's forced to take that little bit of chip damage from the Rocky helmet and all that stuff. So that is my Crook set. Number 5, physically defensive Grand Bull Q Sith. Player off EQ, Heal Bell, Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave gets to slow down, cripple his faster threats. Heal Bell in case I get burned by like Toxic, burned by Skull, get hit by a Toxic or whatnot. Heal those mons up, my team up. And player off with EQ just give me the best coverage against his team because he doesn't really have a switch into both Fairy and Ground. So, and if I can predict the Jirachi with an Earthquake, that'd be nice. I considered running a more offensive set, but I wanted to at least have a better check for something like Garchomp. Maybe it's not Poison Jab, Weaken, Entei Sacred Fire, and all that stuff. As you see by the team that I'm bringing, I don't have an Entei response. I don't have a switch in whatsoever. And number 6, we have our especially defensive Kaguya, our Celesteela, with Leech Seed, Heavy Slam, EQ, and HP Ice for the Garchomp. Sassy Nature, max HP, max special defense. I did have some defense investment here prior to changing to fully especially defensive, just in case to try to live like a +2 Inferno Overdrive Z Fire Fang from a Garchomp, but I figured that'd be a little bit too much investment to go that route. So I figured I'd just bide my time and just try to focus on using my Intimidate Mons with Crocodile plus Granbull to weaken Garchomp as much as I possibly could. And as you see by the team he brought, he decided to bring a team of Garchomp, Spiritomb, Mega Blastoise, Entei, Chestnut, and Jirachi. So I pretty much got most of his team down right. The only exception is I predicted the Clayble over the Spiritomb. But seeing the structure of the team that he brought against me, it's quite obvious that he is going to try to hazard stack me from hell and back. With Spike's Chestnut, either Stealth Rock Jirachi or Stealth Rock Garchomp, one of those two. But looking at the team as a whole, I figured that his Stealth Rocker would most likely be the Garchomp because Garchomp itself has a pretty decent matchup against my team. They can eat up physical hits from my Infernape as I'm not special. They can phase around my team with Dragon Tail, which would benefit it. Racking up the Stealth Rock and Spike's damage, and Jirachi most likely would be like a pivot set to pivot and stuff like Choice Band and Entei and force me to switch that in there. And Chestnut I'm expecting to be like a Spike's Roar set in some facet of the... and something like that. And Spiritomb made the most sense because of the fact that my only way of getting rid of hazards on my team is Delmise, and Delmise gets blocked by Spiritomb, and Spiritomb can force it out with either Will-O-Wisp or Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, wherever the case may be. And Shadow Club won't be doing much to Spiritomb without a crit. So, with all that rambling out of the way, I'm going to start the battle here. So I decided to leave on Mega Venusaur here because I had the best matchup against half of his mons. If he's Garchomp by HP Ice, Mega Blastoise I can sit him out thinking I can win a Giga Drain, and Chestnut I have HP Ice for as well. Now this battle's going to be sped up a little bit because it is a very lengthy battle, and I don't want to like go through some repetitive process here. So I'm going to leave on Mega Venusaur here, like I said. He's going to leave with his Garchomp here, probably to get up his Stealth Rock here. So I'm just going to go for the quick Mega Evolution and take my HP Ice. He's going to go hard into his Chestnut here, predicting like a Giga Drain or something like that. So I'm going to get my Mega Evolution off here. I'm just going to fire off an HP Ice because it was the safest play. Didn't want to overpredict turn 1. So I get some good damage off with the HP Ice here. I'm going to click HP Ice again as he's going to go hard into Spiritomb this time, which does make the most sense. So I'm going to fire another HP Ice here. It's not going to do that much. He reveals he's leftover, so he's more of a bulky set. I don't know what kind of set he's going to run, but I'm going to go hard into my Granbull here, and the reason why is even if he goes for a Will-O-Wisp here, I do have Heal Bell in the back, so I can still force it out. Get the Intimidate off, he's going to reveal Calm Mind. I'm like, okay, he's Crotomb. This is Rest, Sleep, Talk, Calm Mind, and most likely Shadow Ball because I don't have a normal type on my team, and Shadow Ball made the most sense because my Ghost Resist is Crocodile. So he's going to go hard to Entei here. Now I'm going to go for Thunder Wave. 2 reasons. One, just to cripple the Spiritomb and force it to get fully paralyzed at some point. And 2, I was actually predicting him to go into his Jirachi this turn. So I'm going to go into my hard to my Infernape, which is crazy because, like I said earlier, I don't have a fire resist. My fire resist is my Infernape, which gets 2-shot by Banded Sacred Fire. So he's going to go switch out after getting Sacred Fire damage. I'm going to go for the U-turn here. He's going to get off the rough skin damage because I'm going for a physical move. So good on him. But it doesn't allow me to get a switch into my back into my Mega Venusaur. So it's kind of a rinse and repeat process from the beginning of the battle. He's going to withdraw one more time. And he's going to go out to Entei this time. Excuse me. As from here, I'm going to fire off an HP Ice. Not trying to mess around here. And now here I decide to reveal the Earthquake as he's going to stay in and go for the Sacred Fire here. That does a good amount of damage to this Entei here. So he goes for Flare Blitz this time, so made the most sense here because Flare Blitz is stronger than Sacred Fire, but as we've taken the recoil and all this stuff, he's going to have to be forced to switch. He's going to go into Spiritomb this time, and I believe this time I go for a Synthesis on the switch. Yes, I do. So I'm trying to keep my Mega Venusaur healthy for the Garchomp, the Mega Blastoise, and all that stuff. So in the same situation, I'm just going to go hard back into my Granbull here because if for some reason he's like Rest Will-O-Wisp, Spiritomb, he burns me here. I have Heal Bell in case he switches out. But he's going to make a nice double here into Jirachi, predicting me to predict my Granbull coming in on the incoming Spiritomb. So I want to switch out here and go directly into my Crocodile this time just to get the Intimidate off here. Because he could be a physical. I'm thinking he's physical Scarf, but he shows a substitute here. So right away I know for a fact he's not going to be physical. He could be, but at this point it's very unlikely since he shows substitute, revealing sub lefty. So assuming probably Calm Mind here. He's just going to fire off a Flash Cannon here. So my Intimidate means absolutely nothing. I'm just going to go for an Earthquake as he gets a special defense drop from the Flash Cannon. So my main objective is just to break this thing sub. Because Jirachi buying the sub is a pain for my team. Now I could have went out directly into my Celesteela, but I didn't want Jirachi to do any Calm Mind shenanigans if he did have Calm Mind. So now I made the switch out into my Celesteela here because since he reveals to be mostly a special variant of Jirachi, my Celesteela can eat up hits for days on this Jirachi, barring something like a Thunderbolt variant, like he'd be sub 3 attacks or something along those lines. So I'm going to completely sit in front of this Jirachi here. He's going to go hard into Entei here, but I'm just going to fire off Earthquake because it hits both Jirachi and Entei no matter what. So I get my Earthquake off here, and this, from the range of HP it's at, it is going to take out the Entei. So one major threat eliminated for me, as my Entei switch-ins were pretty much non-existent for this battle, as I didn't bring Gastrodon. So he's going to go back out into a Spiritomb here. I don't have much to deal with Spiritomb other than my Granbull. So I figured the best option for me is to just go directly out into my Granbull because I've been doing it pretty much the entirety of the game and didn't really have much else to deal with Spiritomb. So he's going to get up a Calm Mind here. So he's at +1. And seeing as though he's a setup sweeper, most likely Crotomb, I need to get rid of this thing immediately. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake here, predicting him to switch out to Jirachi fearing the Play Rough. But he decided to stay in, and he's going to fire a +1 Shadow Ball to my Granbull. And that does just about a little under half to my Granbull here. Now, I just really want this thing dead, so now this turn I'm going to go for the Play Rough here. I don't care if he goes on Jirachi because he does have, I do have Celesteela in the back. So I go off a good chunk with my Spirit on the Spiritomb here. He's going to fire for another Shadow Ball here. Just missed taking me out this turn. So I believe this turn now I go for Earthquake, predicting him to switch out this time, but I feel as though even if he goes for a Play Rough here and he goes for some reason going hard into Garchomp would be kind of a crazy play, but he decides to go into his Mega Blastoise here, still get some decent damage off on the Mega Blastoise, get a useless attack drop because Mega Blastoise is a special attacker. So now I'm going to preserve my Granbull here. I is going to make the switch out into his Chestnut here. I'm going to pull the double and go out into my Mega Venusaur, because I figured because I'm Mega Evolved and all that stuff, he can't really touch me. But I'm going to fire for an HP Ice here. Just missed the knockout. One more will take it out. He gets up a layer of spikes here, so I'm like, okay, I can't really do anything about that. It's going to affect my entire team, bar Celesteela plus Ranunculus. So he's going to go on to a Jirachi here. I'm going to fire off an H-Price again, not wanting to mess around with Chestnut and limit the number of hazards he gets up on his side of the field. So he gets the leftovers recovery. Now, I believe here I make a crazy play, but no, I don't. I go out into my Celesteela because it completely walls Jirachi. I'll explain later on what I do here. He's going to fire up a Psychic. So we see Psychic Flash Cannon on the Jirachi. His fourth move could still be Thunderbolt, but if he had Thunderbolt, he would have went for it already. So I'm assuming his fourth move is Calm Mind at this point in the battle. So I feel like just firing another Earthquake because I lose absolutely nothing by doing so. So I get some good damage off on the incoming Garchomp, albeit it's not much, but it does reveal that he's a more physically defensive Garchomp to handle stuff like my Infernape, which makes sense. So I'll make the switch out, and I'm going to go and sack off my Granbull here, and I take the layer of Spikes damage. And he decides to go, and I believe this turn he's going to just go for his Stealth Rock. Yeah, so he has Stealth Rock and Spikes up on my side of the field. I do get the Intimidate off on here, so I'm just going to sack off Granbull to the Garchomp here because I can't switch back in on Stealth Rock plus one layer of Spikes. So down goes the Granbull. So which sucks because I lose my main response to Spiritomb, but his Spiritomb is relatively low HP. Do go out into my Crookedile here, get another Intimidate off out of taking Stealth Rock and a layer of Spikes damage. I figured just go for the safe EQ because if he goes out in the Chestnut, it's in range of potentially 2 EQs, which he does do here. As I'm going to fire up an Earthquake, which is just going to miss out on taking him out, but it is in range for a second Earthquake to take it out. He does reveal Spiky Shield here, thinking I'm going to go for a knockoff, but I have no reason to EQ here since his ground resist is pretty much gone now. In a sense, even though he's like defensive Garchomp, Earthquake still hurts like hell. But I do get really annoying Chestnut here, so the number of spikes is limited down to 1. So now here I'm just going to stay in, get some damage off on the Mega Blastoise with the EQ here. So he's going to Mega Evolve here and fire off a Scald after I go for my Earthquake. So that's a good chunk. I can't really touch it with anything else, but decided to let my Crocodile go down here as rocks really weren't necessarily in the battle. So now I'm going to go out into my Mega Venusaur here, trying to scare him out with like a Giga Drain or something like that. So I'm going to fire off a Sludge Bomb here. I don't care if he goes Jirachi, which he does end up doing here, which is a pretty safe play because I'm not going to EQ in that situation. So now here is where I make the aggressive play, because I'm really playing from behind still. So he's going to double out into a Garchomp. I'm going to stay in and go for Earthquake here. I could have went Celesteela, but I figured I went to Celesteela so many times against Jirachi, and I figured at some point he would double here. So he's going to fire an Earthquake of his own, trying to weaken my Mega Venusaur. Perfectly fine by me. I'm going to go for a Synthesis this turn, keep my Mega Venusaur relatively healthy, so I can take a presumed Psychic from Jirachi from full. I can, even though I'm not specially defense invested. In come the Jirachi as I go for predicted and go for the EQ. So I get up a good chunk of damage here, and I believe this puts it in range of a +1 Shadow Ball from my Ranunculus, even after leftover recovery. He goes for a Psychic here. I'm going to stay in EQ here, so I want to put it in range of Shadow Ball from my Ranunculus without the need of a Calm Mind boost, which I do end up doing here. So he's going to get leftover recovery here. I'm just going to try to keep on the aggressive, so I'm playing my defensive mons offensively during this battle. He's going out to the Garchomp here, fire off on EQ again, and get some damage off. I'm going to fire up on HP Ice now. He reveals the Yachi Berry on the Garchomp, so this won't take out the Garchomp because of the damage roll. And he's going to go for the Dragon Tail here and force out my Mega Venusaur. Fortunately for me, he does force in my Ranunculus. Now, I debated this turn for a while because I wanted to go for a Trick Room, but since I saw Dragon Tail, he could Dragon Tail me out as I go for a Trick Room. So I'm going to double into my Mega Venusaur, trying to sack this thing off. As he does go into the Spiritomb, I'm like, okay, he was Calm Mind, he was Crow Tomb, he's going to go for Rest here if I don't take out the Spiritomb from here. I'm perfectly fine sacking off my Mega Venusaur at this point in the battle, because I really need the Spiritomb gone. That was my main problem here. So I'm going to fire off an Earthquake. It's my strongest move to hit Spiritomb with. I do not have Giga Drain. But he goes for Taunt over Rest, which kind of shocked me, but I wasn't going to heal in that situation because the Spiritomb was such a massive, massive problem. So he's going to switch out here. He's going to go out to his Mega Blastoise here. I'm just going to fire off an Earthquake again, because like I said, it was my strongest move against that Spiritomb. I get some good residual damage off on the Mega Blastoise. He's just going to finish it off with a Scald. But like I said, I am perfectly fine with sacking off my Mega Venusaur here to the Scald. So in comes my Celesteela here. I probably could have went Ranunculus, but at the same time, I don't know what its full moveset is, and I was fearing Dark Pulse, but it shows the Rest. So I'm showing that he's a more defensive Mega Blastoise here. I'm just going to fire an Earthquake. Now, because of the fact that he was Rest Scald, I still don't know what his fourth move is, because I'm assuming this was Rest Talk, the one I saw Rest. So he's going to be fast asleep, and then he's going to show the Sleep Talk, and he's going to get the Toxic. So now I see its full moveset: Rest, Sleep Talk, Toxic, and Scald. And then a light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't have Dark Pulse, he doesn't have Roar. This Blastoise can't touch my Ranunculus. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to keep clicking Earthquake after I get the Leech Seed off in the previous turn. So what I'm going to do this time around is I'm going to force him to rest the turn he wakes up. I know he's going to go for Rest, and the turn he goes for Rest, I'm going to go out into my Ranunculus and click Trick Room. Because right now, everything on his team is within range of Ranunculus putting in the work against his team. So here's the turn he goes for Rest. I'm going to fire off an EQ and keep the pressure on this Mega Blastoise. So after this turn transpires, I'm going to go hard into my Ranunculus and pray he stays in. If he predicts me going to Spirit and he goes to Spiritomb on my Ranunculus, I'm in deep trouble. But luckily for me, he doesn't switch. I get my Ranunculus in for free. It doesn't matter what he gets here, whether it be Scald or Toxic, I do not care. And he does end up getting Toxic, so I'm perfectly fine with my Ranunculus being poisoned. But it does allow me to fire off a Trick Room after Elite Seed, and that puts it in range, Mega Blastoise in range of a +1 Shattered Psyche. So he's going to go hard into Spiritomb here, thinking I'm going to go for Psychic, but nope. I'm going to bust out the Trick Room here on this Spiritomb, on the incoming Spiritomb. And now the stage has been set for my Ranunculus. And now, with me having the speed advantage, and he doesn't have a Shadow Ball switch in, he's going to sack off the Spiritomb to my Shadow Ball. So down goes the immense threat that was Crowtomb. Back out comes Mega Blastoise here. Have 3 turns of Trick Room left. I'm going to try to go for a Calm Mind here because I wasn't 100% sure that a Psychic or Shattered Psyche from my Ranunculus would take out a Mega Blastoise. So I wanted to be 100% sure, especially considering I am Quiet Nature, max special attack. He's going to Sleep Talk and he's going to end up getting Rest. So he got some pretty bad rolls with the Sleep Talk there. But now I'm going to fire off my bust out the Psychinium Z. Fire off a Shattered Psyche, a +1 Shattered Psyche on this Mega Blastoise. And if I can get the damage I need, if I get the roll, which I'm pretty sure it was a roll depending on its investment, but the Mega Blastoise is just going to drop to the Shattered Psyche here, and all he has left is Jirachi and Garchomp. I still have one more turn of Trick Room here, so I'm just going to fire off a Shadow Ball, and down goes the Jirachi. So Ranunculus is going to clean up the game for me, and this is going to end up becoming a 3-0 win because as Twister mentioned, returning their own last Pokemon is Garchomp. He decides to go for Dragon Tail just to get it over and done with, which I don't really blame him. So we're gonna come in with a 3-0 win over the Oregon Duckletts. So again, good game to JohnnyGB and his Oregon Duckletts. Of course, there was that whole situation of me trying to be aggressive on Mega Venusaur, and then him clicking taunt on my Mega Venusaur really pretty much cost him the game, because he revealed afterwards he was Crow-Team like I expected, with Rest, Taunt, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball. But if the situation ever came up to where I can set up alongside Spiritomb, I could probably wear it out. He's forced to burn 2 turns of sleep, but because of the way my team was built and with the team the team that I brought, I couldn't really take advantage of Spiritomb went to sleep for 2 more turns, especially considering he had Taunt Spiritomb, he had Dragon Tail, Garchomp. He could have potentially brought like Roar, Mega Blastoise, Roar, Chestnut, stuff like that. So it was still a fun game, nonetheless. I do apologize that it was so lengthy, but nothing really I can do about that, especially considering how defensive of a team that I brought in this battle. So we are now 3-1 with a +5 differential. And just another thing to note, after this battle was played, I made a trade with one of the coaches, the Golden State War Turtles. And I did a 3-for-3 trade. I traded Goodra, traded Delsmes, and I traded Electros to the Golden State War Turtles in exchange, and we were picking up Staraptor, regular Kyurem, and Ditto. So I'm getting some much needed offense. I don't really lose much in the bulk department because I still have Celesteela, I have Mega Venusaur, Gastrodon, the list goes on and on. So I get some much needed offense at the cost of some bulk, which is perfectly fine by me. And surprisingly enough, we do end up playing the team that we traded those Mons to. So we're going to be seeing Goodra, Delsmes, and Electros again really soon for our Week 5 battle. So nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and feel free to check out my opponent, JohnnyGB. His link will be in the description down below. Feel free to check him out, show some support to the guy. And I'm going to get the heck out of here. So until next time, guys, my name is Anthony, aka Tone, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Later.